Tapping into life, we're ready to shine. With every step forward, we're crossing the line. Embrace the hustle, let the fire ignite. Together we rise, we'll conquer the night.
Welcome to another episode of the Tapping into Life podcast. I am your spiritual life coach, Matthew B., and I am here to bring you yet again another informative and juicy conversation on the podcast. So come on in. Welcome. There is plenty of room in the spiritual living room of the Tapping into Life podcast. So come on in, grab your drink, your snack, your pad, your pen, whatever it is that you all need to be informed. Bring your ears, your physical ears, your spiritual ears. Bring your physical eyes and your spiritual eyes. Bring an open mind. Bring your spiritual existence. Bring you and your entirety, flaws and all, to the Tapping into Life podcast. Once again, welcome. It is so good to know that each and every one of you are continuing the journey of self-discovery, healing, and maintaining a wonderful and strong and positive mindset. All right. So come on in. We're going to get started because I have a story to tell, a conversation that I want to bring to y'all, and I got some questions all in between. Okay. So come on in. All right. Let's get this started. So I want to tell a story. And it is in regards to the topic at hand. Now, before I tell this story, I do want to do a little bit of promo, right? Lion of Judah Foundation, Inc., for the month of October, is having couch conversations where I and Jawan sit on an episode and we have a discussion or a conversation, right, with someone who is sharing their story of domestic violence. Now, we all know what domestic violence is. We all know, the numbers. If we don't know the numbers, we can look the numbers up. But domestic violence, unfortunately, is still running wild. The numbers are increasing. They're too high. They're just too high. The number one is enough, okay? But it's too high, right? And we have to inform everyone about domestic violence. So what we do on Couch Conversations over at Lion of Judah Foundation, Inc., is we have couch conversations and we listen to people share their stories of domestic violence. This is going on for the month of October, all right? And if I'm not mistaken, the first one will be airing October 7th, Monday. All right. So the first Monday in October, that's when the first episode will be. And then every Monday after that, we'll have stories for the month, and conversations for the month of October. So all of my tappers, I need you to go in and search on Facebook, Lion of Judah Foundation. Well, no. Judah Foundation, Inc. And, like the page, follow the page, and you will be able to have access to the conversations every Monday for the month of October. All right. So now let's get into it. So I'm going to tell y'all a story. Once upon a time, thousands of years ago, there was a series of events that took place, right? And in some of these events, the creation of Earth, or the world, of Earth as we know it, the creation of Earth, the creation of the animals, the creation of mankind doing what they wanted to do, got, thrown out of this paradise of a garden, you know. And during that time, you also had the first murder. During that time, you also people was getting eaten by big fish. People was uh, on a boat for 40 days and 40 nights. People were this is the first recorded the recording of slavery. Um, God told somebody to let his people go, and he didn't do it. So, we had oceans being split in half. I mean, we had just so many stories during this time, during this length of time. It was a time frame that lasted hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, right? We had 12 people going around with Jesus, his disciples. We had a guy named David slinging a rock and killing a giant. Like, we had all of this stuff going on, right? And it was recorded in history. It was recorded in history. And even till this day, the places that these things happen really do exist, right? Even if, the city state, for those who don't know what a city state is, look it up. The city states may not be no more, but the city states may now be a country that's going by a different name. But all of this stuff was recorded, right? And all of this stuff was recorded by multiple people who later put everything together, and a book was created, right? And during these events, they had it was a lot of life lessons and spiritual lessons, and read this book when you get a chance. Okay. All right. Read this book when you get a chance. For those who know how to put two and two together, y'all know what book I'm talking about and what the book is called. Okay. But during this, everything was recorded. So we think. Oh, did I say that? Yeah, I did. So we think. Right? Right? So this book was called the Bible. Right? And this book, inside this book had multiple books. And the number of books that we know to be in the Bible is 66 books. Strange number, but 66 books, right? You got Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Judges, Ruth, Joshua, Kings. You got John, Matthew, Mark, Luke. You have Revelations. You have Ezekiel. You have Isaiah. You have all these books. There's 66 books to be exact in what we know as the Bible. Okay. Now, this is the year 2024. In 1999, there were a series of documentaries from 1999 to about even till 2024. There have been a series of documentaries. And in these documentaries, we're cracking open the Bible and the backstory of the Bible, and, to better understand how things were operating back then. We got to get that historical fiction of it all, right? We got to get that the history and the backstory of what we're trying to understand as it pertains to read the Bible. Okay. Now, Also, in the early 2000s, like right at the turn of the 21st century, so it was like 2000, 2001, there were a series of documentaries that insinuated that there were books of the Bible that were omitted. They were taken out. You know, they had found during that time books that were supposed to be in the Bible that were omitted somewhere throughout history. Now, we know a certain someone who manipulated a certain version of the Bible. Okay. We know that King James manipulated the Bible. All right. We know that. We can dig into history and go into the details, but we don't want to go down that rabbit hole because it'll kind of go left and we'll kind of get off topic. So during this time, he took all these books out. So what was presented from then till now was 66 books of the Bible, right? And within those 66 books, those were even changed and manipulated. And the wording was wrong. Yeah, the wording was twisted and stuff like that. This is why to Christians, this is why we always hear you got to study the word for yourself. You got to learn the Bible for yourself. And then you go to God and ask God to give you 100% clarity. Now, do we all do that? That's none of my business. But we were all taught that we had to go, once we received something from a sermon, go to God and ask for clarity to make sure that what we're hearing and what we're seeing and what we're reading is correct. So later on down the line, there were a series of documentaries that also insinuated the same thing about the Quran. Now, for those who don't know what the Quran is the holy book that that the Islamic faith and Muslims that they read from. This is how what they read to gather their information as it pertains to their spiritual walk of faith. And it is what it is, right? So now we're looking at Christianity being questioned, like, is it the truth? Like, what we read from the Bible, is it the truth? Because now it's being confirmed that books were being omitted. We're now finding books, and it's the same thing happening with the Islamic faith, that there were some books, and these are historians, right? These are, for Christianity, these are priests and historians confirming these things. And for Islam, these are priests and historians that study and practice the Islamic faith. These are what they're confirming. All right. Books being omitted, stuff being switched around. They're confirming this. Okay. So then, in the same documentary that, what they were talking about the Islamic faith, they didn't confirm that, many monks had confirmed, but they kept it silent for so long, but then they finally came out and confirmed that in the Buddhist faith and in the Hindu faith, the books that, of the book that they read from, there were certain information that had been omitted. It'd been taken out for whatever reason. Now, I had to go back because I really did listened to some of this stuff like years ago, right? But I'm the type of person that you could tell me anything, but until you have the proof, I can't, confirm or deny the validity of what you're telling me, right? And I'm not saying that you're lying. I'm saying that there needs to be some proof, because I'm not going to walk around here with a false narrative or preconceived notion based on what person or topic or idea that you're telling me. I need proof. I need the receipts. You know how we do in 2024. We got to present the receipts. So I had to go back, and some of this stuff, this was like PBS, on Sunday at PBS, where they don't have any of the kiddie shows, and they had these documentaries that come on at 7 or 8 in the evening. So I had to go back and pull up these documentaries that were saying all of this, because now we're looking at multiple religions experiencing the same thing. Multiple religious practices are now being called into question by the people who question them. We're all experiencing the same thing. The Muslims are experiencing, the Christians are experiencing, the Buddhists and the Hindus are experiencing, the Roman Catholics are experiencing. We're all experiencing these same things, where the books that we read from were manipulated, and we had stuff being taken out, and and then later on throughout history, now we're finding these books that speak on the same things of, and paraphrasing the books that we read from. So I'm like, okay, no, but whoa. It's one thing if it happened in one religion or one walk of faith, right? It's one thing if it happened in Christianity. It's one thing if it happened in the Islamic faith. It's one thing if it happened in the Buddhist teachings, right? But for it to be in all of them, yeah, I got questions. I got questions, right? Now I have not read the holy book that the Buddhists read, and I have not read the Quran. So I can't speak but so much on those books. But as far as the Bible, we're looking at 66 books of the Bible. Okay. Now, every version of the Bible, starting with the presentation of the 1611 King James Version Bible, contains 66 books. Okay. When you go into the Roman Catholic faith, they're looking at 73 books. Now I did my research. This ain't no Google and whatever Google says by AI intelligence. That's what I'm bringing to y'all. Like, I went and looked on multiple sites and did my research, and yeah. Roman Catholic Bible has 73 books. Other Christian denominations read from Bibles that have 66 books. Okay. I got questions. Because last time I checked, we're all within the Christianity belief, right? Okay. All right. I got questions. But I'm gonna finish. And then I'm gonna jump into the topic, because we're 20 minutes in. Okay. Now, upon researching, I asked myself, how many books total are supposed to be in the Bible that I am reading? Like, if I crack open my Bible via an app or the actual book Bible, like, how many books am I supposed to be reading? Because it's not making sense. And then you got the Roman Catholic people over here, they got 73. According to the research, it's 73 Bible, 73 books. It's not making sense. So I'm asking myself, like, how many books there were supposed to be? Now I'm doing my research. Now, upon my research, I asked, how many books were there in the original Bible? So the first ever version of a Bible put together, how many books were there? The oldest Bible recorded, how many books were there? That's what I wanted to know. Right? And the answer is, y'all ready? Okay, so 66 books that are in the Bible that we read from, different versions of the Bible in the Western Hemisphere. So we looking at 66. Roman Catholics are looking at 73. All right. The oldest version of a Bible written has 81. I got questions because I got questions on the whole denomination thing of Christianity, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm trying to figure out how within, if Jesus died 1,000 or 2,000 years ago, or, how are we managing to get 44,000 Christian denominations under the Christian faith? But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole today with y'all. This is just a story and a pre-discussion of the discussion that we're going to have. All right. So I'm not even going to go past 25 minutes with this. All right. I'm looking at my clock. I'm not even going to go past 25 minutes. All right. I got, what is that? 3 minutes to go. Well, 2 minutes to go. So 66, 73, 81. I want to know, as someone who is a Christian and believe in the foundations of Christianity, not the religious aspects of it, okay, not the religious dogmas as they're named. Excuse me. Not them. I'm talking about the spiritual definition of Christianity, right? Because I am a spiritual Christian. I'm not a religious Christian. I don't have anything against religious Christians. If y'all want to do things religiously, that is y'all's business. I'm not passing judgment. That's just not my cup of tea. Okay? And it's not my cup of coffee. That's all I'm saying. So, my question is, where is the dysfunction? Like, where is the breakdown? Like, how have we gotten to this point to where we have 44,000 denominations under one belief? And why isn't there a conversation about how we got there? And then, like I said, I'm also hearing the same thing about other religious practices or other spiritual walks of faith and how the books that they read from, it's been confirmed that there was some stuff omitted from the original version of said book. So I'm like, okay, no, okay. It's literally happening everywhere, in every religion, in every walk of faith. It's literally happening. I got questions. I got questions. Now, the reason why I told this story, is I want people to understand that with 44,000 denominations under one practice, yeah, right? What is this on my? I think I missed the spot. But anyway, so 44,000 denominations under the Christian faith, and we don't ask ourselves, how did we get here? Right. So we got to look back at history. Because let's start from 1611, when the King James Version Bible was written, and not written, but presented. All right. There were a certain group of people who did not agree with that practice. These people were being persecuted if they did not carry out the belief system of how Christianity was supposed to be by way of this Bible. Okay. So then they said, okay, but we want some freedom for all of this. So we're going to go over here to this land, and we're going to establish this land as our home. Okay. Fast forwarding, this is where these people were called Puritans. And the Puritan Bible was made. So man said, because I don't agree with the version of the Bible, and how I supposed to do things, and this, that, and the third. This is what religious rules do to you. Because I'm not agreeing with it, I'm going to go, me and these other people that feel the same way, we're going to go and we're going to, again, manipulate something that's already been manipulated. So my question is, if you're going to manipulate something that's already been manipulated, and you're taking the manipulation to manipulate the manipulation, how does that work in your favor as it pertains to your spiritual belief? Because it's already tainted. So you're taking something that's tainted and compromised to form something, expecting it not to be tainted and compromised. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, I'm not the one to ask questions, but I'm asking questions because it's confusing to me, right? So fast forward, we have this, fast forward, we have now slavery, right? So we got slavery that comes in the mix. There's a version of the Bible called the Slave Bible. And basically, it's taking the Puritan Bible, bringing it towards the South, and adding to where, it's being taught or forced, inside of the slaves. There are people that say this religion was beat into the slave. Christianity itself was not beat into the slave. Okay, so let's be clear. Christianity was not beat into the slaves. Like it wasn't. The religious rules of Christianity, the man-made, manipulated religious rules of Christianity, were beat into the heads of the slaves. The Christianity connection with spirituality was not. The religious rules, the religious dogmas, the cult-like rules that manipulate spirits even to this day. And this is where we segue into the topic at hand. Those were beat into the slaves. So I hope we understand now. I hope we understand, because there are people that be like, well, Christianity was beaten to the slave. No, the religious rules and the religious cult-like dogmas were beat into the slaves. And the slaves were forced to, agree with this, or they'll suffer whatever punishment that the slave owners, that the masters would have inflicted. Okay. I just want y'all to understand. I want y'all to understand that there has already been a spiritual generational curse among multiple people, multiple communities, not just the Black community, not just the white community, not just the Asian community, not just the Hispanic community. Everybody, depending on race, as it pertains to race, ethnicity, skin complexion, size, height, religions, every aspect of a human existence has been manipulated under the conditions of someone who believed something that they thought was right, or they, were manipulated into thinking was right, but was actually compromised, to prove a political view by way of which the religious rules governed a certain point in time. Okay. So then we started adding words to the Bible. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole. All right, let me fix my mic right quick. We're not going down that rabbit hole. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole, because that's like, once again, that's a whole nother ball game. And we're trying to stay on track. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole. All right. But I want people to understand that when we get to a certain point, and as we are walking in the season of alignment, part of that season, within that season of alignment, part of that entirety, we have moments to where we not only have to look at ourselves and identify who we truly are and tap into our greatness and fix our flaws and identify our trauma, we also have to look at what is governing our beliefs. What are our beliefs, number one, and what is governing our beliefs, and why, or if there's any connection to the spiritual universe and spirituality as a whole. We have to begin to assess certain things. Y'all following me? Because what I have understood in my journey, my spiritual journey, what I've understood is that though I am a Christian, and I love the Lord, and I believe that there was this omnipotent being called God, and God created the heavens and the earth, the birds and the bees, the trees and the seas, and the animals and the people, and there were these stories and, of factual information and all of this. Though I believe all of that, how I was brought up as a Christian under the conditions of my parents and my grandparents. I believe, when I became an adult, that there was more to what was being presented. And this is where you have to, ask yourself, well, is there anything else I need to learn? Is there more to it? Because that's why in my journey, that's what I was thinking. There was more to it. Like, you just can't tell me something, and then when I ask you, you tell me to go and look back to the book that says it, but the book that says it, it's not giving me clarity. And then you always had, our parents and our grandparents that'll tell you, oh, you just got to read the Bible and then go to God and ask God for your, for clarity and understanding, right? And I'm going to tell you, my parents and my grandparents were known for saying that. Like, they were known for saying, if I had a question, they were known for saying, it's in the Bible, it's in this book, in this chapter, in this verse, and this is what it says. And if I ask another question, well, you just got to go and pray to God and ask God to give you clarity. Okay. Because when I started praying to God and God started giving me clarity on a lot of things, what y'all were teaching and what the pastors and stuff were teaching during those times were a fraction of the entirety of what was meant to be taught. It was a small fraction of the truth of what you were trying. So you mean to tell me you were trying to prove a point? So in this point, you took a certain book, you took a certain scripture of a certain book, well, a certain scripture of a certain chapter of a certain book, and twined it around your finger, or the Southern folks say finger, twined it around your finger and manipulated said scripture to try to prove a point of what you believe was right by way of what your own understanding and that iniquity inside you said was right. Oh, come on, y'all. This is what y'all were saying. This is what they were doing. And there was more to it. There was more to it. And see, here's the thing. And see, this is where I don't spare people from, when it's time to start sharing experiences, I don't spare people. So, I'm just going on record. If y'all are watching and y'all know y'all had something to do with the foolishness and the manipulation, and you feel some type of way, then I don't have anything to do with that. But what I'm trying to say, there has been spiritual manipulation for years and generations. And it has gotten to the point to where people are being exiled and thrown away and tossed to the garbage because they don't agree with certain beliefs the exact way that it's being presented to them. At 39 minutes, I am here to tell y'all that there's not only spiritual manipulation going on, there are spiritual predators that are existing. And as Christians, we be like, well, spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay, so this is where it goes down. Okay, this is where it goes down. And there are times where it's like, okay, if you don't agree with what we agree with, how we agree with it, down to the letter, every fine detail, then you're not living right. Right? Now, I've had the chance and the opportunities to talk to other people of other, spiritual walks of faith, right? So it's just not a Christian thing. You know, I've talked to people who were Muslims. Who are Muslims. I've talked to people who are Buddhists. I talked to people, you know, of different spiritual practices that may be. I've talked to them, and they've always also shared this experience, you know, within their walks of faith, that if somebody or a group of people said, if you do not follow this the way we present it, then you ain't living right. And the spiritual manipulation was inflicted by a person or a group of people. And in this person or this group of people, you manipulating not just the spirit, somebody's spiritual state of being, you're manipulating their mental, you're manipulating their emotional. You're saying that this is wrong, but this is actually not wrong. You're saying that this is right, but this is actually not right. You're saying that this is the 100% truth, but in reality of it, once, you know, the reality set in and we start learning and growing, we realize what you said was 100% true is only 18% true. What you said was 20% true, what you said was 100% true is only 20% true. Well, where's the other 80%? And why are you, as someone who says that you're so knowledgeable, why have you not put this on the table for everybody to eat from? Why is the 100% truth now coming hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years later, generation after generation after generation? Then we finally coming up with the truth. This is what really is. What you saying is only a partial compared to what really is. This is what we call spiritual manipulation, right? This is what we call, in order for me to have some kind of a control over you, I'm going to tell you certain things and I'm going to twist certain things around so that I can maintain that control. And whatever God that you believe in, and okay, but I'm your God. I got control over you. Let's talk about it, y'all. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And when you hear spiritual manipulation or spiritual assault, it automatically takes you to the church, because yes, that's where a lot of it stems from. But we also got to go outside the church. We also got to go into certain industries and in other certain situations that has nothing to do with the church itself. Parents, there are some parents that spiritually manipulate their kids. The whole guilt trip thing. All that I did for you, at least you can do is give me some money. You make $80,000 a year. I did this for you. I did that for you. I fed you. I clothed you. I did this, yada, 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 yada. At least you could do is show me some appreciation by giving me some money. Did I step on some toes? Did I strike some nerves? Okay. Okay. Let it sit in now. We have friends, people that we say that are close to us, so-called friends that are saying, well, remember when I did this? Remember when I did that? Remember I did this for you? Remember I did that for you? Oh, you got to loosen up. You got to try this. This is good. This is nice. Da-da-da-da-da. You know, it ain't going to hurt nothing. Why are you being so scary? Peer pressure is spiritual manipulation. I'm just going to, that's a form of, that's a form of spiritual manipulation. Let's just take it. Let's just take it. All right. Let's just acknowledge it. Let's just accept it. And let's do better. So my question is, no, it's not a question. It's not a question. It's just a statement. But we've been spiritually manipulated, right, by people and their filters. And you're going to hear filters and the connection to filters and people, you're going to hear that a lot on the next episodes. Like, you really going to hear that, because how someone perceives something, they want you to do it. And if you don't do it, then they're going to cut you loose and throw you away. But because you desire a connection to said person, you are willing to compromise who you are spiritually to satisfy and do what said person or said community of people want you to do. But at the end of the day, you've appeased them. You've appeased them. You've satisfied them. But what about you? Because when you look inside of you, you all messed up. There are cracks and damage and trauma and all of these things that are happening that has now been added to what you are already needing to fix, because you want to be accepted. So you compromise who you are by shape-shifting yourself to be accepted by one's filter, or how they want you to be, how they perceive you to be as it pertains to them. That's called spiritual manipulation. And we as people, we got to stop doing that. There are so many people who are being spiritually manipulated. And then when they get older and all of a sudden, see, here's the thing. Spiritual manipulation silences everything that does not match the criteria of what that person or that community of people want you to be, right? And we all can confirm that. We all can agree upon that. But let me tell you something about spiritual nature. Spiritual nature says, though you may cut off a branch here, the exact thing that you cut off will grow somewhere else. And it will be stronger and produce more plentiful fruit than what you cut off. Okay, that's what spiritual nature says. Spiritual nature says there's going to be a growth. There's going to be an existence of something positive. If you cut that off, then I'm just going to grow it somewhere else. And it's going to be stronger than what you cut off. Y'all following me? Y'all all right? Y'all following me? Good. And we wonder why people's mental state is where it is. We're wondering why people's emotional state is where it is. We're wondering why people are having these nervous breakdowns and you know, just anger and full of things and getting violent. We're wondering why people are involving being so angry and involving themselves in such negative and toxic things. Why? Because they've been spiritually manipulated by other people. If the picture that person paints for you, if you go with that picture and you paint that picture reflecting what that filter is, then you automatically throwing you and your human nature out of spiritual nature out of balance. You're throwing yourself out of balance. You're blocking things. You're blocking your connection. You're blocking your connection, people. Come on. We are blocking our connections to our true selves because we're so busy trying to appease and be accepted by other people. But when we do that, we compromise who we are. And a part of who we are consists of that connection. to the spiritual universe, to the mouth of God, to the ears of God, the spiritual universe. And this is why we feel lost. This is why we feel confused. This is why we don't feel good. Something ain't right. Something out of line. Yeah, your connection. That's what's out of line. Your connection. That's what's not right. You've compromised. You've allowed someone else's iniquity and trauma and flaws and insecurities and hurt and pain and all this stuff that's toxic in them. You've allowed someone to impart those things inside of them into you. And you wonder why you feel the way you feel. You wonder why you see things the way you see things. You wonder why, your flesh is, your human nature is doing something, but your spiritual nature is saying, hey, yo, wait a minute, something ain't right. You wonder why you do things and it don't work out in your favor. But when somebody else does it, they reap whatever fruit that it is. Because you've been spiritually manipulated. And that's what's happening today. It has not just happening in the church, and people are just making light out of it now. People have always made light out of it, but they've just been silenced. But like I said, once you silence somebody or cut somebody off, it's gonna grow back. The very thing is gonna grow back. So now the revelation and the reality of what has been going on as far as spiritual manipulation within religions across the board are now being brought into light. Because I'm trying to figure out how can somebody stand, and I'm about to piss some people off. I know I am. I'm trying to figure out how people can preach from the pulpit and give you the 100% truth about God and how he wants us to be and who he is as an entirety. And to back that up, you preaching the word from a book, the Holy Bible with 66 books, but the oldest recorded Bible has 81. I'm trying to figure that out. But you said you got the 100% truth. Because I read the word of God in the Bible. You read 66 out of 81 books. Where the other 15 at? This is why we got to learn the word for ourselves. Right? And people are asking this with other religions when they read the books of whatever religion that they practice. And these books have been taken out, and these modern versions of these books have not been, have been identified, but they're not been placed in the newer versions of those sacred books that they believe in. They're asking themselves the same thing. How can you, okay. We're trying to understand this. But here's the thing. One person of one religion said, I don't want the connection to that of another religion. And that person said, I don't want the connection to this religion over here or that religion over there. So what we're going to do, we're going to rewrite this Bible and we're going to manipulate it. But the 15 books that have been omitted adds more truth and add more spiritual aspects to what we believe in. And like I said, even in life, if when you are connected to the spirit, and this is why, see, people prey on people who they know are not connected spiritually to their spiritual selves. right? This is why we got all of this stuff going on. This is why we got all of this stuff going on. But when someone who is spiritually connected with themselves, they can't be manipulated because they know who they are. They can't be manipulated because they know what the spiritual universe, the mouth of God, what the spiritual universe says as it pertains to who they are and the journey that they need to take to be great and tap into their powers that the spiritual universe spoke into them, that God placed inside them. If this is their identity that God spoke inside you, being spiritually connected will say, hey, this is the identity that God spoke into me. Let me follow this way. I'm not going to follow that way over there. I'm going to follow this way over here because this is the 100% truth to me. And this is where I need to get to. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to embrace it to be great in life. And if people over there want to get mad, let them get mad. They ain't got nothing to do with that. But I'm not going to compromise who I am because y'all over here feeling some type of way because I'm not doing the things that y'all want me to do, how y'all want me to do it, when y'all want me to do it, where y'all want me to do it. Because you realize people who are spiritually connected with themselves prosper through anything, even the most chaotic seasons of their life. They're able to prosper through it with the strengths and the gifts and all these nutrients inside. They're able to maneuver through it. But people who follow the things that are compromising their spiritual identity and their spiritual existence, these are the ones that will sit up there and say, oh, I can take it on. And then you get a gust of wind, like, and you fall on the floor and you can't my arm broke, I can't do it no more. Oh Lord, I can't take this no more. This is so moving forward, I'm pretty sure y'all now will be able to identify who is really connected with their spiritual selves and who is not. I'm just saying, tap into it, okay? Being spiritually, we gotta understand if in order to know if you're being spiritually manipulated, you gotta understand who you are. I am going to do a 2-part to this, okay? I'm going to wrap this part up, and then I'm going to go to the next part. So this is part 1. I'm going to do part 2. All right. So y'all stay seated, go to the bathroom, get a bathroom break in, get you another round of coffee or snacks or whatever. Sharpen your pencil, refill your ink and your pens, and we will be right back.